right, time for a quick Memorial Day baseball standings check. I see where the Mariners are still in first place.
Are you out of your mind?
Game up.
They are up 1 on the Houston Astros, the cheating Astros.
They've come back down to earth a little bit, but dude, the dumper is having.
Oh my God,
Dude, that guy's amazing.
who do we credit for the Mariners actually being able to hit now?
I don't know.
Because it's quite a turnaround.
It really is. Well, who thought that freaking Jorge Polanco? Like, we made fun of that when they brought in Jorge Polanco. We're like,
is he still kicking some butt?
Not to where he was. Like I said, they've come back down to earth a little bit, but he's having a really good year for them. And that was kind of mocked as like the big addition, and he's been freaking awesome. Let alone the dumper is he just gets better and better and better.
So right now, it's very bizarre, but the home run leader in Major League Baseball is Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
You may remember him.
Yeah, Polanco's down to 282, but in Mariner world,
he's plummeted.
Yeah, I know. Well, he was hitting like 340, but you knew he wasn't going to hit 340. But in Mariner world, dude, 282 is like 400. Last year, the Mariners collectively hit like 215.
So Ohtani has 20 bombs.
Yeah.
Leading baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Judge, third with 18 bombs. Second, Cal Raleigh.
The freaking dumper.
With 19.
And Cal's always been a power hitter. And again, he hits 210. He's hitting 260.
Yeah, he's been real strong.
Yes, he's been phenomenal.
Somebody's saying Edgar Martinez is the guy to credit.
So
he's their hitting
instructor. Well, that's what their dumb GM, who I can't stand, and I guess we give him. I guess you have to give him some credit.
DePoto.
They were saying why he didn't make any real moves in the offseason. He pointed to the fact that when they made the switch and they fired their hitting coach and they fired their manager and they went last year with Dan Wilson and they brought in Edgar Martinez. The hitting in I forget what it was. It was however many games they had, like the last 40 games or whatever. The numbers were an instant jump, like when Martinez came on board. And so they did say that they were counting on Edgar being there full time and they thought he could make a real difference. And they didn't make a lot of additions, and their offense has been so much better.
Where has that been? I'm like, he's been sitting out there forever. Like, why only now did they figure out, maybe Edgar Martinez, one of our best hitters of all time, could help our guys hit?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but great hitters aren't always great coaches, but
no, but
he has made a difference. Obviously.
Seems a little late. Anyway.
And they said last year you could see it, and this year it's been great. Their offense is not dreadful.
So Raleigh is the first catcher in the history of baseball to homer from both sides of the plate in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Homer twice from the left side in a game and twice from the right side in a game in the same season. Nobody has ever done that. Catcher.
I can't say I knew that.
He's already done that, and we're not even to June.
Nope.
And he's done it in the same season.
Yeah. And the other weird thing is in that division, and I know that division right now isn't like the end all, the be all, but the Astros aren't bad. The Angels have been better than expected. The Mariners have the best offense in that division. They have 247 runs scored. The Astros have 230, the Angels 224, and the Athletics 235. When's the last time the Mariners led that division in runs scored?
2001.
I'm looking here at like some of the others. And now again, I mean the Tigers have 288 and the Yankees 304, but 247 puts them. I mean that's in the top third of the American League.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you know who the hitting coach of the Rangers is right now?
I do not.
And the Rangers can't hit.
They can't hit a freaking lick.
Brett Boone. They fired. So in fairness to Brett Boone, he's new. They were so bad they already fired their hitting coach and brought in Brett Boone. So now you have division rivals with Edgar leading the bats of the Mariners and Brett Boone leading the bats of the Rangers.
Can I say just off?
That's a battle I'm here for.
It is, but at the same time, everyone loves Edgar Martinez and Brett Boone. He's a douche. So
right, and he's on steroids.
Well, yeah.
Do you think he'll get him back on the sauce out there in Texas?
I would hope so. Do we still test for that? I feel like when's the last time? Well, someone just got dinged.
So.
Someone just got dinged.
A pitcher.
Yeah.
Alvarado from the Phillies.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like,
Idiot.
It doesn't happen that often anymore. Someone gets dinged. So yeah,
that is true.
Get back on the sauce.
Do you think guys are really like?
No, they're just finding better ways to.
Yeah, they're taking different stuff.
Yeah. They're just
like. Do you think Judge is on something? Well, I think he's on something. I just mean, is there something enhancing his performance illegally? How about that?
I know.
Guys hitting 400.
There's enough guys have so much money now, and there's enough science being put towards this. I think if you've got the money in a sophisticated program and you want to do something, I think it's fairly easy to do. How about that? Whether or not he's doing something, who knows? But there's not a single player in the world in any sport that if they got caught using a performance-enhancing drug would surprise me. Because there's so much money on the line, and it works. We all know it works. And so whether that's, going over to Europe, guys doing peptides now, guys doing HGH, what was the one? Fast acting testosterone where guys can get it out of their system. The other one that I've read about is guys will go in and they will literally get their blood work done every week, and they keep their testosterone level right at the legal limit. So synthetically they can make it to where it's literally right there. So even though it's not like you're not going Incredible Hulk style, you can make sure that your body is at the peak optimal level that will not get you busted. So is it illegal? I guess technically, but guys are too sophisticated and too much money to get caught nowadays unless you're sloppy and dumb, which is why you see a lot of young guys that just get sloppy with it and maybe, because what do they say? Like a lot of the Latin players, when they go back home, it's all just available like in pharmacies. And some of those guys get caught because they're just sloppy and it's unsophisticated. But if you get a guy that's making a couple $100 million, he's got a doctor behind him and, he's got a lab and all that stuff. I mean, that's the reason why A-Rod and like Bonds and those guys got caught is because of federal investigations, not because they failed tests.
This is a serious question.
Yeah.
Real quick. If Ohtani gets popped for steroids, do we care?
Not like we used to, but it'd be a bummer. Yeah. It would be a bummer. But we certainly wouldn't care the way we used to.
If we find out Ohtani's all juiced up.
Yeah. It would hurt his legacy. Big time. But he wouldn't be a pariah like Bonds or I just think that level of outrage and that sort of pearl clutching, I think that's
we don't have the energy for that anymore.
No. And I think we understand now that
well, some of us.
Yeah, I just think we all understand now that we know what goes into enough big names have been caught and we've had enough scandals where we're like, okay, if you ask the average person what percentage of professional athletes are on something.
I love Tesla.
I'm guessing that most people assume that number is fairly high. And so there's just no more.
You think Ohtani's doing that kind of stuff?
I bet he's on something. To what grounds is legal? I just think every high level athlete is pushing the line. And some are willing to cross the line and some are willing to go right to it. But I promise you, when you're making $700 million, you're on something, right? You're taking supplements, you're taking stuff, whether it's when you get injured, you're doing PRP, you're doing stem cells. Like I said, you're on peptides, you're on, you have a team that is helping you make sure that you stay healthy and recover at a high level. So you're on something. It's just to which level, like I said, where does that go? And what do you feel is cheating?
Y'all want to buy some drugs?
Well, and this is the one I've always said, like, and I've been totally honest about it. When I first got, the only thing I've ever done that would have been considered illegal is they used to give us the Mark McGuire stuff, the
Andro.
And then that got banned and guys still took it for a little bit. But once it was not been able to give to us anymore, then that was the last, I guess, steroid thing. It was the only thing I ever took that would have been considered illegal. I had a lot of guys on my team that did, and we had a bunch of guys that did it. I never did. I was too scared. I always thought I was going to get caught. But this is why I don't get judgy about it. So you take a bunch of guys that were on steroids or HGH, and they were used to get bigger, stronger, faster, and recover and not get hurt. And that was deemed as those guys were cheating bastards. I took so many narcotics and so many
Amphetamines.
Amphetamines. and anti-inflammatories. I lived on that stuff. I mean, lived on it. It's the only way that I stayed on the field. So but everything I was doing was considered fine, even though that stuff was literally ripping my guts out and killing me, destroying my liver, screwing up my kidneys. I lived on Toradol for months at a time. Why was that considered fine and not performance enhancing? Because there's no way I could have played without it. None. I mean, there'd be days before a game I could barely walk, but you give me a shot of Toradol and you give me a bunch of nasal inhalants and then give me some uppers, and all of a sudden I'm going out and playing a game. And that's considered brave and like, oh, dude, you're a tough guy. But the guy that's doing HGH or the guy that's doing steroids, that guy's considered like a piece of crap and a cheater. I'm not going to draw the difference between those two things. Just, it's the dirty secret. Professional sports does not exist without drugs, because guys can't make it through an entire season without some form of help. And it's just where you draw the line of what's legal, what's cheating, what's not. And I say
do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I don't have a straight enough hand to draw that line.
It's called baseball in particular.